Now, sometimes, of course, when you're trying to get that angle, you're unsuccessful, and in fact, your opponent does end up coming out in front of you. And at that point, you're getting an increasingly dangerous and unfavorable position for you to finish your single leg. At that point, it's important to be particularly aware of your opponent's position, and particularly to where his hands are. As I'm trying to get the angle and Colby's trying to get out in front, if I notice this arm comes close to my body, specifically, if he makes the mistake of not keeping his elbow here, but where I can grab it, and that could be because he posted it, or he just kept it lower down my body, my torso, as opposed to higher up and covering, now I can't grab it. But as soon as I feel it go to here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock, and I'm not going to lock it very hard. I'm just going to cup it. I'm not going to try to grab it and make a big deal out of the grip. I just want to post it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll at the same time, torque my body along its axis, and I'm going to lift this leg up. You'll notice that Colby, at this point, is pretty much parallel to my body. Our bodies, up for a moment. Our bodies are like this. I was trying to get an angle. But right now, if this is Colby's head and this is my head, and these are our spines, pretty much on top of each other. So while there might be a post back and forth this way, there's not a whole lot this way, particularly if I take his arm away on this side. So I'm in this position again. I still try to keep my head up. I know I'm in very poor position here, and I'm in danger. As soon as I see this come down, I'm going to grab, and I'm going to roll here. Now, what I want to do is I want to stay on his shoulder and head area. Walk it around, turn into me, Colby. I push his head. I push my head into him. If he turns away, I sag. He turns into me. I post. He turns away. I sag. All things being equal, it's easier to transition when he turns away. You can transition when he's turning into you, but it's more difficult. It's better to transition when he's turning away. Notice, when I do this particular technique, I'm not thinking step 1, lock, step 2, grab, tighter, step 3, start to roll. It's got to be all at once, because your opponent is going to stiffen up on you pretty quickly to defend if you take much time. So as soon as I feel this mistake here, I go with it. I come around to the side, I block, I sag. He turns in, I block with my head, I sag. That's when I'm going to transition. And again, one of the things as we get into some future DVDs that are important, if I'm going to come around, notice I'm not on my hip, I'm not on my legs, I'm on Colby, and generally speaking, I want to be covering his head and his shoulders area. I feel he'll feel a lot more pressure in this position here. I'm in here. I'm really trying to get this angle here. Colby's not letting me. He's being successful coming out. All of a sudden, oh, I see this. I'm going to clamp, and I'm going to roll. Now, when I roll, it's important that I'm rolling along the axis of our bodies. I'm not going to try to go this way. I'm not going to be pushing this way. I'm just going to roll my body directly along the axis of the spine here. I come around, I'm pushing with my head, sagging, pushing with my head, sagging, and as soon as one of the times he comes away, that's when I'm going to transition to get side control. So, as you're all looking at me now, when I'm in this position here and I clamp, my body just wants to go like this. So I have the leg. I'm really trying to come around the side. He's coming out in front. I see that arm or I see that elbow where I can block it off, and I want to come here, up like this. Notice my body's just going to turn through. I'm supporting myself right now. Of course, I'd be clamping on his arm here. So my body, along its long axis, is just going to rotate. So from here, my body's just going to rotate in that direction. As I do that too, with my head, once I come down here and his body starts sliding off, I kind of give a little pop with my head too. So I am using a little bit of head pressure there. It's mostly this power here, clamping and rolling, but I do get power with my head, and I get power with the leg that I'm throwing. But it's almost as if I'm a spool going around very rapidly, and he's like the thread around it. So if you can kind of imagine that, and that the thread's going wap, 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 around, that's kind of what you're trying to think of. Your body is torquing. You've locked up on him, so he's going to go as you turn your body. One more time. So I'm in here. I'm trying to get this angle, and I feel him come around. I'm blocking. He said. There are a couple other situations where that basic type of a roll or basic type of a throw would come into play. One is if while I'm trying to attack that single, Colby makes a mistake of putting his hand down. As soon as I hear or feel that, I'm going to grab it and take it away now. Right now, he's got a post, so I've got to be able to get rid of that post as I throw. I don't just want to jam into that post. I've got to slap it away and remove it as opposed to continue to drive in. And all I can say about that is you've got to piddle with that a little bit, because there are times where from here I might want to basically knock it behind me and go. If it was over a little bit more over here, I might bring it a little bit forward. So depending upon the angle of his arm relative to you, that would make a difference in terms of whether you wanted to shove it more backward or more forward. And that you just got to play with it. You'll sense when is more appropriate for each, depending upon the position of his arm relative to your shoulder. Because again, you don't just want to drive. I don't just want to drive into that post. I've got to take it. I got to take it out one way or the other. I don't want to just try to lock into it and drive down on it, because I'm going into a post and I'm likely to be unsuccessful. Another situation that comes up in is if my opponent grabs around my body, and this is a mistake to grab like this. Now, this isn't a mistake. We'll go over in defense, in the defense module. You're grabbing up high, but this is a bad mistake in wrestling. If Colby grabs here, no problem. If Colby grabs around my body that way, his weight is far over me, because, again, you noticed his grip was almost down towards my waist or lower part of my ribs. He's got no post anywhere to the side. So if he's around my body, he doesn't have a post in this direction, he doesn't have a post in that direction. Now, typically I'm going to want to go in that direction. He locks around. As soon as I feel that, I'm going to trap it. I'm going to roll and throw. Distinguish that position, like this, from, slide up higher, yeah, a little higher, yeah. From this position, this is different, even if I have the leg here, this is a much different position Colby is in right now. I'll go over that issue in more detail when we go over defense. But if Colby has a single on me and I make the mistake of grabbing down his body here, lower towards it, on the lower part of his torso here, on the lower portion of his torso, this is a bad mistake. Okay, I'll get rolled. There's an alternative roll from there too, and that is if my opponent grabs, and even if he doesn't grab, he can grab around like this, or if he can just grab here, and he might be messing around with me, like hand fighting or whatever, that doesn't matter, but he can either grab. All I know is he's got around this way as well. Like I said, he doesn't have a post here. He doesn't have a post here. I can grab this post as well. And it's that same rotation of my body along its axis. Again, if he grabs around my body, he's got no post to the left or to the right. So if he grabs around here, I can roll this way, or I can grab, all I'm trying to do is just grab his wrist, grab his elbow, stick it to my body. Watch now, I'm going to push my head up, and I'm going to sit through here as I kind of rotate my body. From here, I can keep the turn into me, Colby. I keep the weight on top of him the whole time. You'll notice I wasn't down here, right? Kobe gets on top of me. After I was on top of him. And again, that's an important wrestling principle, which we'll be going over in some future DVDs as far as sort of a smash down type of principle, or keeping your weight on your opponent. So this time, he was grabbing. I can just I'd grab both of them here because I'm smashing. I'm going to sandwich this lower hand here against this hand. I can grab here and through. Around the single, I block. I just want to trap that arm. That's all I'm trying to do. I got to push with my head as I rotate my body and sit through. You'll notice too with this, because there's a post on this side, I'm trying to collapse the leg in. So I blocked his arm. There's no post here. I'm pushing with my head up, chopping his leg in as I'm blocking where he's got no post now. To that position. Again, my head is up. I'm not going to be down here. My head is up. I'm actually trying to get the angle. He's not letting me. I see him grab here. I'm just going to go into this position here. Remember, when I'm doing this type of a throwing technique or this type of a rolling technique, I don't want my head down here. I want my head up as high as I can get it. I'll be more successful this way. I'm not going to be as successful here. And that's the same thing when I'm rolling here. You'll notice my head starts to slide out as I come. And now my head is up high here. So when I do these type of techniques, particularly so with this, because think about it. If I'm in this position and I'm trying to get this angle, but I'm being unsuccessful, notice my head still stays high. As I'm blocking, if I'm pulling this way and I'm pulling this leg, or at least blocking and kind of, I'm just basically just trying to turn my shoulder in. If I'm cutting the right side of his body under like this, what I'm trying to do with my head is complete the circle by pushing high on his chest, so that his body's going like this. So I'm in this position, I grab, and again, I'm not going to grab, make a big deal. I prefer just to slap it and make friction. If I grab, people pull away. That's a natural tendency. But if I block, people don't respond to that as much. We'll go over a little bit more of that issue when we go over rolls on the mat type of techniques. When you grab somebody, there's a tendency for them to respond. But if you just post it and go, people typically don't respond to that as quickly. And so I think that will give you a little bit of a tactical advantage there in terms of being able to complete the technique before your opponent perceives the attack and tries to defend it.